Hi, I'm Kayla Hibbs from the Louisville Guitar Society. Today I'm interviewing Byun, who's doing her victory lap of concerts around the country after winning the GFA. The Louisville Guitar Society and the University of Louisville are co-presenting Bo as part of the annual UofL Guitar Fest from October 14th to 16th. For more information, please go to louisvilleguitarsociety.org. And for more information about the festival, which is full of competitions, workshops, and master classes, please go to louisville.edu/music/guitarfest. We'll also post links below. So first, I wanted to say thank you, Bo, for taking time out of your busy schedule for this interview. I know you're probably, sounds like you're traveling a lot and probably practicing a lot. Yeah.
Right, yeah,
What,
no, thanks
what's,
for having me. I'm really excited.
yeah, me too. What city are you in right now?
Well, actually, I just came back from Minnesota and I get a little break
Oh,
in
good.
home at home, yeah, in LA.
When's your next concert? Is it the Guitar
Next
Festival?
one is in 2 weeks in Cleveland, then the following week in Louisville.
Okay, awesome. Well, we're excited. So I thought we would just kind of start at the beginning. I know I'm curious to know how you were introduced to classical guitar.
Right. Well, it was totally a coincidence in a way. So,
Mhm.
I was just folding laundry with my mom one day, and I just saw a guitarist, playing on the TV, and I said, "Well, can I would like to play that instrument."
Aw.
So we just started, and it happened to be that the guitar teacher then was a classical guitar teacher. So that's how I was introduced to the instrument.
How old were you?
I was 6.
Wow, that's so
Yeah.
cool. What was it like starting so young? Were you like, it sounds like you were pretty self-motivated to know that you were interested in that.
Right, yeah, no, I remember. So I couldn't start right away because back then there was no half-size guitar or something like that. So we had to order it, and I remember asking my mom every other day, "When is the guitar coming? When is the guitar coming?" Just driving her crazy. And yeah, it finally came, and I was really, really motivated. I really loved the instrument, and yeah, I remember really, because when you're a child, your skin's a little more tender, so it would break and I would bleed and I would still practice.
Oh,
Yeah, I really, really liked it and had a
wow.
lot of fun with it.
Wow, it's so cool. So did you have to have one like specially made for
Right,
your
yeah. I mean, these
size?
days,
Wow.
yeah, these days they're all available, but back then,
Yeah.
especially in Korea, they weren't,
Mm.
easily available, so.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, that's awesome. Was there a certain moment, like having started so young, was there a certain moment or like influence where you're like, oh, I want to make this my career. I want to, have a career in music.
Well, for me, it was just more of a constant thing. I just
Hmm.
always, I mean, I never went into it thinking this is going to be my career because I was just so young
Hmm.
when I started. And then my teacher would make me do recitals and things like that. And I just remember thinking, oh, this is very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I practice for this and I get to show it and people seem to like it. And yeah, I
Yeah.
guess that was one of the moments where I thought, oh, this can be my career.
Yeah. It's amazing. So you kind of grew up performing
Right,
a little
yeah.
bit, yeah. Wow, that's so cool. Were there any influences like throughout your career that have like maybe influenced you? Maybe like rep selection or just kind of like kept you motivated all these years?
I think it's a number of things. Friends, just
Mm.
musician friends, just being very dedicated to what they do. That always kind of inspire me to do more.
Yeah.
And yeah, and teachers, of course, just seeing them and see how they navigated their career and kind of
Mm.
trailblazing all of this stuff. Yeah, and competitions too. I know it's tricky, a tricky
Yeah.
subject because it can be also quite damaging in a way. But I think I used it in a positive way that it always motivated me to do more.
At least in the guitar, the ones I've seen for guitar have seemed pretty encouraging and like
Yeah,
competitive, but not like in a mean way. Like,
right, exactly.
you know,
Everyone's rooting for each other, and it's
yeah.
very, it's nice.
Yeah. I'm sure that helps. Have there been
Hmm.
any like particular challenges for you in your music career?
There are smaller ones and bigger ones. I mean, just like everyone else, in any profession you have, you're gonna have challenges. For
Mm,
me, I think the bigger one is just not knowing how to navigate it, navigate the career as much. My parents are not musicians at all, by all
mm.
means, and yeah, so I just didn't really know how to go about it, and even going to college, things like that, I really had to do my own research
Mm.
and yeah, so things like that, looking back, was kind of challenging for me.
Well, I did a little bit of like background research and saw that you're involved in some projects outside of like performing and teaching and stuff like that. One I found was sounding board. Could you
Right.
talk a little bit about that and how, like, what your involvement is with that?
Right, that one's really fun for me because I realized, well, I had a composer friend that was living in LA back then, and we're very close, and she she liked guitar, but she just felt like just like a lot of non-guitarist composers just felt that
Mm.
a little intimidated by the project of writing for the guitar. So we said, well, how about we start a project where you pair guitarist with a composer, that way the guitarist has the exposure to like in create to the creation of a piece. They can be more
Mm.
involved than um, just receiving the piece, and the composer on the other hand gets all the support that they need, like immediate feedback, so they don't have to wait around
Yeah.
until the piece is done, then you have to edit all of it because now the guitarist says this is not playable. So the
Right.
immediate feedback was the main focus of it, so it was really
Mm.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds so cool. Have you done any collaborations with composers through that?
Yeah, so we did I forget how many. I think we did three projects together. So we invited, composers to do it, and then we paired them with guitarists. But I also got to work with some of them, and that was really fun. That's been a good project.
Are there other projects that you're working on outside of sounding board?
Well, it kind of relates to teaching, but so
Yeah.
there's this online intensive I've been trying to do called Guitar Lab, with my friends also. The idea behind it was that, there are all these great festivals, but sometimes if you're international or, it costs a lot
Mm.
sometimes to attend these festivals to receive instruction. And um, the idea kind of got put together when we were seeing a lot of festivals happening online during the pandemic
Yeah.
time, and I thought, oh, that's a great way of having people be more involved in a way and make it more accessible for people all over the place. And how cool would it be to kind of connect young guitarists together, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, so that was the idea behind it.
So has like the projects, like the collaborations and stuff, um, or like even just contemporary music, like that goal of getting more contemporary music for guitar, does that influence the rep that you select for your concerts?
Yeah, it definitely does. So what I try to do is I try to balance it out so that it's not heavily on new music, contemporary music, or heavily just the rap that we usually know. So it's just a mixture of both. So it could be like a piece that's not as well known by a composer that's really well known. So,
Yeah.
Casanova Tedesco, you know his name, so you kind of know how his music sounds like, but then you necessarily might have not heard this
Mm.
particular piece. So, things like that, I think it intrigues people to listen to more different kind of music. So, I'm always
Yeah.
interested in finding them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. It's an awesome strategy and it helps introduce people to new composers.
Right.
Yeah. I noticed one piece that you're playing by Jalil Rafiq Kaya, Prelude and
Prelude
Dance.
and Dance.
How did you find that one?
Well,
Or how did you discover it?
well, we were in New York around the same time, going to college. So
Oh,
I knew, I mean, he's a fantastic guitarist. So I knew him as a
yeah.
guitarist. And then I started seeing all of his compositions being uploaded on YouTube. And I thought, oh my goodness, what a also a great composer. And I really,
Mm.
really love his harmonic language, all everything. I just love everything about what he writes. So I started going through all of his compositions, and this one, I mean, just like many other things, but also spoke to me. So I started putting it on my program, and people seem to respond to it really well.
Yeah. During your travels, like for GFA and stuff like that, how do you go about preparing for your performances?
Right. It's I just finished week 2, so I'm still very
Okay.
new at it, very
Mm.
green. So the tour officially started in July with GFA,
Mm.
the convention. But so I had the rep kind of really practice for that, and more or less I was just maintaining
Mm.
until the tour started in the fall. And I don't know, from here now on, I think the challenge will be to kind of keep them fresh in my mind so
Sure.
that I don't just kind of go on stage and go onto a autopilot in a way, but just still be able to enjoy and yeah, play them.
Yeah. Yeah, like make them like they're still
Yeah,
new to you, I guess.
exactly. But
Not-
I think I'll be
Yeah.
able to, because I was careful to choose the pieces that I really like.
Yeah.
So hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. I
I'll stay
loved
fresh.
that clip you sent for the Instagram promotional. What piece
Uh-huh.
was that?
That's the Ginastera Sonata. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
fun piece. Yeah.
That was really cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I love that.
Uh,
Yeah. How do you go about like maintaining a new piece? Is that tricky? I've always found it tricky.
right, it is tricky, but I think I've like that.
Okay, yeah. So you kind of set
Yeah.
up like a roadmap, I guess,
Right,
of like
exactly. So
goals.
it'll be like in 2 days, the notes have to be learned. In 2 days,
Mm,
like the phrasing has to make sense. Things like that. Yeah. Just
yeah,
setting little goals.
right. Oh, that's
Yeah.
good. Then you can like kind of see your progress and make sure you're on the right
Exactly.
track.
Yeah. Otherwise, if you feel like, oh, this piece has to be done in 2 weeks, it's just kind of up in the air.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's more stressful rather than making it bite-sized for me.
right. More manageable, like little
Yeah,
pieces. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. What advice would you give to a student or anybody who would like to pursue a career in music?
Oh, um, I don't know. I think it's so broad these days. Career
Mm.
in music too. It can be really anything, and yeah, it really can be anything. So it's a little challenging for me to just say
Mm.
one thing, but I think in general, you do have to really like it to do it. I mean, just like any other profession, because if you,
Mm.
especially if you're doing classical music,
Yeah.
you can't go in it thinking, well, uh, I'll make money and it'll be fine. But you just have to do it for the love of it, I feel like. And then
Yeah.
hopefully then money and success will come with it. But
Mm.
even if it doesn't, that's okay because you like doing what you do, and that
Yeah.
should be enough. Yeah.
Right. It is kind of broad and you can be really creative, I feel like, with how you
Yeah,
pursue it.
exactly.
Yeah.
These days, yeah, you can just post yourself on Instagram, things like that, or
Yeah.
TikTok or whatnot, and yeah, that's a career, right? So
Yeah.
it's hard to say, well, these days you gotta go about it this way, Yeah, it's
Right.
just so open-ended.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. So I know we talked about like when you started and how you fell right into classical. Did you love that genre like right away, or did you experiment in other areas? Like,
Um, I liked it, but the teacher that I was studying with, he was pretty. Well, he was just prepping me to be more versatile, so I would do just fingerstyle and strumming and chords, things like that too, which was fun. But I don't think it didn't speak to me as much as
yeah.
classical. And I find it really interesting that with classical guitar, the idea of classical guitar is a little more broad than what you label
Hmm.
quote unquote classical music, because it includes
Yeah.
we play so much South American music and all this stuff, and it's very versatile. So I
Hmm.
kind of we all kind of got lucky with that in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. There's actually so much, like, probably so much more rep out there than people even realize
Yeah,
getting into
exactly.
it.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite composer?
Um, That one's hard to say because it's like food. You don't
Yeah.
have one. It's like I like this for 2 weeks and then another thing for a
Yeah.
month, but I come back, back and forth. So yeah, I'm very much back and forth. But these days, I'm really enjoying playing Jalil's
Oh,
pieces,
yeah.
multiple. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, for now, he's my favorite composer.
Yeah. That's a good one. So,
Yeah, exactly. And it'll change and then I'll come back. It's not like,
yeah.
I'm done with them. It's always in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good thing, I think. Always looking
Yeah.
for new composers.
Uh-huh.
Cool. Awesome. Well, that was my last question, but I just want to,
Yay.
thank you again for taking time for this interview, and we're really looking forward to your concert on October 15th at 7.
Yay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.